All right. So when I was listening to version one of this track, it was sounding great, except for on mono speakers. Mono speakers just play the center channel or the one channel and not the left or right. So the reason why it sounds bad on the mono speakers is because a lot of our bass elements are just like really wide and expanded, which sounds great in stereo. I really like it. But let me show you. So first thing I did is I inserted a directional mixer, and I have the stereo spread on 0. So this will only play the mono. It will not play any of the stereo elements. So anything that's only on the left or only on the right, it will not play. So this is what it sounds like. And this issue is really only with the drop. So I'm going to play it, show you what it sounds like with and without the directional mixer on, and then I'm going to show you my kind of creative, wacky solution to it. So first thing is, let's go to the drop, and this is with the directional mixer off. This is what it sounds like normally. Ooh, yeah. I think it sounds great. But now when I turn this directional mixer on, which just makes us hear the mono elements, let's listen again. Ooh, yeah. It sounds so different, and like this main bass, like if we listen to this is the worst part about it, but there's other elements throughout the drop. This is one of the issues with layering the basses the way I do, is sometimes you get really cool sounds, but they're so different in each ear, the left and the right. So let me solo this and show you. It sounds so much shorter, like bum, 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 bum. Instead of, when I turn the directional mixer off, this is what I get. It's just way wider, it lasts longer. So I have a bit of a wacky solution to this. So I'm going to do this with both the basses, so the main bass and the other basses. So, but I'm going to do it separately, just because of the effects. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bypass all of the effects after, I guess I don't even need this channel EQ, but after the bit crusher. So what I'm going to do here is turn these all off, just temporarily. And then I'm going to highlight all this, and I'm going to bounce this in place. So I've bounced this in place, or I'm waiting for it to bounce in place. So now I have this dry signal here. Okay, and now since I have the dry signal here, and I was testing this off camera, so I made sure that it works. I'm going to delete these. So I have my dry signal. So what I'm going to do now is just turn these all back on. And then with the dry signal, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pan this all to the left. So now I'm just going to get my left side. Sorry, I have this other bass in. So if you're listening on headphones, this should only come out of the left side. So now I'm going to bounce this one in place. So I have this one bounced out, and you'll see my reasoning in just a moment. So now if you look at this, I only have my left channel audio here. And then I'm going to take this, and then I'm going to move it all to the right. So now it's panned to the right. I'm going to do the same thing, bounce in place. And notice I have normalization off. That's just to keep the volume the same. It doesn't really matter because we're going to be mixing this in a moment. So now I have normalization off. So now this is bouncing. So now I can mute this track. I'm not going to need this anymore. So I just have these two tracks. So this sounds nice in stereo, but what I'm going to do is turn these both to mono. So turn this to mono, and turn this to mono. All right, something went wrong here. It looks like something went wrong. Hold on. I don't know why we bypassed all the effects. I don't know why this is being strange. So let me try this again. I'm going to delete all this. I don't know why this didn't work. So let's go back here. Okay. So everything should be off here. All right, let's try that again. bounce in place. All right, this should work. Let me make sure that it's working before I make copies of the file. All right, perfect. All right, so now this is the dry signal, actually. So now when I pan this, all right, good. Now I'm gonna bounce this. Oh, I see. For some reason, it still looks attached even though we're out of the track stack. Let me move this in. And then if I move it out, yeah, I don't know. It's still linked with the track stack, but whatever. That's weird, but it should be fine here. So if I just listen. Perfect. Now I'm going to bypass this or pan this to the right. And now I'm going to bounce this in place again. And the reason I'm doing this is so I have both of the elements from the left side of the channel, the elements from the right side of the channel. So now I'm going to mute this. And this should still work. Great. So I have my left side and my right side. So that sounds fine. So now let me see if the effects turn on when I do this. Oh, that's weird. All right. Well, that's actually easier. I'm going to take this and put it into a track stack first. Let's see. Create track stack. Why is this? Oh, this is within the track stack. Oh, okay. This is not in the track stack. But it's still going to the effects. All right. Now these are in the track stack. I'm going to create a track stack within a track stack. So let's see. Create track stack, summing stack, and this is going to be mono main bass 1. And you're wondering why I wrote mono. It's because we're going to turn these tracks into mono tracks. So now this right here makes this a mono track. So if I listen to this, and if I look at the EQ, this means I just have one track playing. I'm going to do the same thing here. Turn this into mono. So let's listen to these together. I guess I could put the EQ right here. So let's see. So it's a mono here. Okay. What's happening is I think there's some phase cancellation, which means some of the left and right effects are canceling each other out or just not there when we're in mono mode. But even though I have these tracks as mono, it still doesn't sound as good as I want to. So one thing I'm going to do to get rid of that phase cancellation is very slightly make these tracks a little bit off. And I'm going to have this much quieter than the main bass. So in the stereo mix, it's not going to make a huge difference. But if we're playing on a mono speaker, it's going to sound a little bit better. So I'm going to move this back. Well, that's too much. I'm going to zoom in more. So let's see. I'm going to push this back to about negative or 20 to the right. And I'm going to move this 40 to the right. I think this will sound good. So all right, so let's listen to the main bass. Let's see, do I have the directional? No, I don't. So this is, and this is the mono bass. Wait, hold on. This is acting weird right now. All right, there we go. Okay, so this is going to be too loud because if I go to the main mix and everything's on. Ooh yeah. That's where we liked it. This is what we had earlier. But if I turn the directional mixer on, sounds awful, but let me turn this thing on. Ooh, yeah. right, so but this is too loud, so let's see. I'm going to turn the directional mixer off. I just want this to be like a little support here. So the directional mixer is off. So let's see, this is peaking at negative 12.2. So I want this to be much lower. This is peaking higher. So I'm going to turn this down about 10. So the idea is to not really notice it if it's on or off in the stereo mix. So let's do that here. Ooh, yeah. All right, so that's good. We might turn this up a bit. So now let's go to the mono mix. So with the directional mixer on. Ooh, yeah. So I'm turning this up a little bit. And the mono mix is just simply not going to sound great no matter what. Ideally, no one's playing this on the mono speakers, but you don't want someone to listen to your song, it be on the mono mix, and then it sounds terrible there, and then they don't like it anymore. So that's what we have with this added mono bass. And that's what we have without. So I think it's much better. So now let's just try our regular mix and see if it still sounds good. So let's go turn this off. And I'm going to do the see if I can notice it test. If I can notice it a tad, then it's fine. But if it's noticeably worse, then I can adjust it. Ooh, yeah. All right, so I can barely notice it, if at all, during the stereo mix. So let's try the mono mix now and just listen one more time. Ooh, yeah. All right, so that sounds way better. That sounds actually what I was going for. All right, so now I've done it here for the main bass. I want to do it for the other basses too. So the other basses are a bit more complicated. So I'm going to turn the Echo and Space Designer off. And then these ones I'll leave. And then for this one, I have the Echo and Space Designer. I'm going to turn this off because I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take all this. I'm going to bounce this in place. I'm going to keep the effects off. I'll turn them on later once we're done. All right, so now I have this thing, and it is within the track stack. And notice you can see that I was testing this out earlier before I started to record. So I'll delete that, and I'll delete this. So now this is within the track stack, so I'm just going to listen to this. All right, so now I'm going to pan this to the left, bounce it in place. I'm not normalizing this. And then I'm going to pan it to the right. I'm going to bounce it in place. And then I'm going to mute this track. I'm going to create a track stack here. So this is the other bass, mono. And let's listen up. I need to change these to stereo first, or from stereo to mono, I should say. And then what I did last time is I moved one of the tracks, and it doesn't really matter which one because they're both mono. I moved one of them 20 over. That's too much. Because if you move it too far over, then you're kind of like changing what the sound is like. So move this over about 20. And when I'm saying 20, I'm talking about this number that's in the plus. I can't show you right there, but right there, plus 40. All right, so now let's listen to this. All right, and then I'm just gonna figure out what I did for this bass, mono main bass. Let's see, what did I do here? I turned this down -7.8. So I'm gonna do the exact same thing for mono other main bass. Turn this down -7.8. And let's see how this compares to this main bass. That sounds good. So now let's listen to the whole thing, and I'm going to compare the... So right now we're in mono mode. I'm going to do stereo first to make sure it doesn't sound bad. Ooh, yeah. All right, so I really don't notice it in the main mix. So now let's go to the mono mix here. So I just turned the directional mixer on, and let's listen to the whole thing. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. All right, great. Once again, the mono mix, it doesn't sound good. It's not going to sound great ever. It just sounds better. And we didn't really change much out of the real mix. So I'm happy with this. I'm noticing this section I kind of didn't do. So without that mono mix, yeah, it's super wide. So ooh, yeah. So let's see what I have here. All right. So what I'm going to do is do the same thing. I'm going to turn off the echo and reverb. I'm going to bounce this in place. I'm going to bounce, or let's see, I'll bounce this to the left. Now I'll bounce it to the right. Mute this. Create a track stack. I'll call this main bass filter mono. I don't know if this has the same effects because the track stacks have been acting weird. No effects here. So what I'll do is I'll end up adding the effects back on. Let me just turn these back on to see if it makes a difference. Nope. So I'll end up just copying these effects. All right, so now I need to change these to mono. And then I'm going to do the same thing. To avoid the phase cancellation, I'm going to move this over 40 and 20. Does not matter. And once again, this is not a huge deal, but I just want to make sure it sounds good on every single type of system. And then I move this down 7.8 for the other two. So I'm going to do the same thing here. There we go. And then I was going to copy the effects that I had from here to the mono ones right there. So it's 2 over. So the single EQ I should copy because that's filtered. I'm probably going to have to copy the automation too. I'll copy the echo and I'll copy the space designer. So let's see what this sounds like. All right, so I need to copy the single EQ. So I'm going to automate this, go to single EQ frequency, and I started at 2000. So I'll start at 2000 here. Perfect. And then where did I end? I ended at 255. So I'll do the same thing here. I think right there. And now let's listen to it. All right, great. Now I'm going to turn the directional mix around and see what that sounds like. All right, now let's play them together. First, we'll do the normal mix. Ooh, yeah. Great. Now let's do just the mono mix. Ooh, yeah. All right, that sounds a bit phase cancellation. Ooh, yeah. But I don't really care if it's perfect, I care if it's better. So long story short, it sounds better. So anyway, those are the changes that I've made to make the bass sound not as bad. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy this, bounce this out. I'm going to move this to where we decided the end was. You might be getting a little bit bored of this. I don't blame you if you are. So let's just make sure this is all good. All right, great. So let's just make sure everything's on. Perfect. I'm going to bounce this, Command B. Okay, good. I was messing with some of this off when I was not recording just to test to see what I could do. I was messing with the split. It didn't work, so that's why I did the method that I showed you. So this all looks good. This all looks good. I'm going to write this. This is going to be Ooh Yeah V2, because since I made a change to it, I'm going to call this V2. If for some reason the bouncing is weird, then I call it VE 1.1, or if to get the bounce right, if I didn't make any actual audio changes. But here I made changes to the song, so I'm calling this Ooh Yeah V2. So I'm going to hit copy. I'm going to, yep, this all looks good. Hit OK. As you can see, I have these bass splits. That was a test that did not work. Anyway, Ooh Yeah V2. Bouncing. All right, so same thing. Gonna listen to this a ton. Lots of different speakers. Hopefully this will sound better on the mono speaker and still sound great on the stereo speakers. And if we have nothing else to change, then we're done. So just as I was explaining what my 0.1 system of aversion was, I realized as I was listening to this that I did not turn the reverb and echo back on for the other basses. So right here, I'm going to zoom out and then I'll zoom back in. So for these other basses, right here, echo and space designer need to be on. I didn't touch these. And then this right here needs to be on. And what I should do is put an echo and reverb on the mono version. So let's take a look at this. This is echo at 5, space designer -26, and echo at 5, space designer -26. So why not add it to both? So I'll go to this. I'm going to copy this over. All right, now let's listen to this with everything back on like it's supposed to be. Ooh, yeah. So that sounds better. I'm just going to listen to it off and compare. So not this, but this and this, some 23 and some 24. So let's turn these off and just listen to what we had here. It's right here. Ooh, yeah. All right, so very slight difference because everything's being squashed, but I didn't intend that to happen. So once again, gonna get everything here, and I probably could memorize what the bar is that I need to close this off at. It's a little too much. Halfway through, perfect. I think this is perfect. All right, so now I'm gonna bounce. When I go to ID3 tags, I'm going to call this 2.1 because that was the intention. I guess sometimes I would do a version 3 because I technically added the reverb and echo onto that other track. But since I intended it, I was just rushing to get this track done. But that's why you don't rush. So now I'm going to call this Ooh Yeah V 2.1. Copy. Everything else looks good. And that looks good too. All right, so same process. Going to listen to this a ton, and we'll see if this is the one.